So I have a main channel video already talking about how great and legendary Welcome to Derry is. This is easily one of the top shows of the year. It's phenomenal. And the more lore we have, the more research, the more everything is just so connected, so beautifully and tied in so well. We have a video, What Happened to Lilly Bainbridge After It, Welcome to Derry. Video by Marvelous Video.
You and I both know that Lilly Bainbridge is the 13-year-old heroine of It, Welcome to Derry, HBO's prequel series set in 1962. And while I found her slightly annoying in a few episodes, she won my heart in the end. I mean, the girl did have some degree of resolve in her, and proved to be a better friend than I had expected her to be. By the end of Season 1, Lilly survives the terrifying cycle of Pennywise's reign in Derry.
That's how I feel about Marge. She was making, oh my gosh.
Marge. You almost got a whole video just dedicated to you because of how you was moving in the first half of this show. Boy, your validation to be liked was putting you in some scary situations. There is no way you wanted to be popular that bad. There is no way you were willing to backstab your own best friend for a group of girls that's gonna peak in middle school. There is no way you were sitting there making fun of your own friend just so you can get a couple laughs. There is no way you wanted to look cool that fast. But your redemption arc, it comes. Now, it comes and you losing some stuff, but
She was about to be worse than Pennywise for that first half of that show, boy. Moving crazy.
And in the finale, Lilly and her friends, that's Marge, Ronnie, and Will, manage to thwart Pennywise's escape by plunging the mystical meteorite dagger into the ground at Derry's border, thereby reactivating the cage that traps the creature. Oh, and I really loved how they honored Rich in the end. That was sweet and well-deserved. I mean, the kid was the heart of the group and had the largest heart. So anyway, this climactic battle leaves Pennywise banished back into hibernation for another 27 years. Lilly comes out alive, albeit scarred by loss and some pretty severe and serious trauma, but victorious and determined to move forward. So much so that she even visits her father in the end, and speaks her heart out. In short, she survived the events of 1962 and stood with her friends as the cycle ended and Derry returned to a tense peace, for the time being anyway. But what we must note here is that
This is what be throwing me off, bro. You telling me y'all went through the worst events known to man. And I'm not even talking about the main characters. I'm talking about just the regular people in Derry. Bro, these kids I don't even know where they were. In the freaking Antarctica? I don't know. And then when they get snapped back to normal, it's just like, time to go back to school. Hey, Mom. But there was an entire city being eaten. It was a demon just walking around. And everybody just acts like it was normal afterwards, bruh. Everybody just forgets. I never understood that.
The story in Welcome to Derry closes without an explicit on-screen epilogue for her character. After the funeral of her friend Rich, Lilly discusses Pennywise's words about time with Marge, and Lilly concludes that if Pennywise tries to wreak havoc in another era,
it's somebody else's problem.
It'll be someone else's fight.
What this line means is that Lilly does not expect to personally battle Pennywise again in the future. The series then jumps to a post-credits scene decades later, and it was this very scene that left me and many others wondering what became of Lilly in those intervening years. While the show doesn't follow Lilly into adulthood on screen, the finale and Stephen King lore offers clues we can piece together about her possible fate.
No one who dies here ever really dies.
The post-credit scene and a curious connection to It. In a post-credit scene that connected Welcome to Derry and the two It movies very intrinsically, the show leaps forward in time to October 1988. Now, this is just before the next Pennywise cycle starts. We see an elderly Ingrid Kirsch, Lilly's former confidant from Juniper Hill Asylum, and the one tricking children to enter Pennywise's snares. Living out her final days in Juniper Hill, one night Ingrid hears a commotion and she goes to check it out, only to find that an asylum patient named Elfrida Marsh has died by suicide. Two distraught family members...
Bro, that was so fire at that end, bro. That ending was so fire. The way that they was able to... The way that everything is just so connected is it's too elite, bro.
...over the body. One's a man, that is the deceased woman's husband, aka Alvin Marsh, and the other is his teen daughter, Beverly Marsh. Of course, we know this young girl as Beverly Marsh, the future Losers Club member from Stephen King's It. Bev's abusive father, Alvin, blames her for her mother's death, and I believe it was here that his not-so-fatherly touches towards Bev began. You see, in the books, Elfrida was always concerned and scared that Alvin was touching Bev inappropriately, especially after Bev started to develop into a young lady, if you know what I mean. One day, Elfrida confronted Bev about this, but to Elfrida's delight, her young daughter was confused at the question of her father quote-unquote touching her. But I digress, so while we're still near Elfrida's hanging body, Ingrid smiles a pretty eerie smile and tells Beverly, you know what they say about Derry, no one who dies here ever really dies. I mean, this was Mrs. Kirsch's way of offering comfort, by telling a young girl who lost her mom that the latter had turned into a ghost. I mean, what the hell, woman? But then again, what else could one expect from a deranged woman like Kirsch, who thought a murderous clown was her once loving father waiting to return home? This brief but impactful scene is packed with all sorts of connections.
Looking back on it, that was kind of crazy. Papa, is that you? Yes, come here. That was kind of crazy, bro. What you mean, Papa? Nigga, get over it. You just gotta live the rest of your life with daddy issues, bro. You gotta leave that shit alone, bro.
It very effectively ties the prequel series to the films by showing Beverly and revealing her mother's name, Elfrida Marsh. It also links Ingrid Kirsch to Beverly's later encounter with Mrs. Kirsch in It Chapter 2, meaning the creepy Mrs. Kirsch form Pennywise took in that movie was in fact inspired by the real Ingrid. For you and me, however, the biggest question was what this scene meant for Lilly Bainbridge's story. Some had theorized that Lilly might grow up to be Beverly's mother. Seeing the name Elfrida Marsh in 1988 appeared to challenge that theory, or at least complicate it, which naturally led to heated fan discussions about Lily's ultimate fate. So yeah, what happened to the already disturbed and troubled Lilly Bainbridge after the show?
Yeah, get to it. My lord.
Was Lilly Bainbridge Beverly Marsh's mother? From early on, we knew that there would be some degree of connection between Welcome to Derry and the two It movies, more specifically between the characters of the TV show and the movies. We knew early on that Will would ultimately father Mike from the Losers Club, and that Marge would mother Richie Tozier. But another prominent fan theory was that Lilly Bainbridge could later become Beverly Marsh's mother. On the surface, this idea had some plausibility. The timelines
on the surface, yeah, I can see that, but yeah,
line up perfectly. And Lily is 13 in 1962, which would put her in her late 30s by 1988, which is a plausible age to have a teenage daughter like Beverly. In It, Beverly's mother died when Bev was young, and Bev's father was cruel and abusive. Moreover, Lily sadly had more than her share of trauma with her father's gruesome death, a couple of stays in Juniper Hill, and the horrors of Pennywise. It wasn't hard to imagine Lily as an adult bearing psychological scars that might lead to her unhealthy marriage, possibly even to someone like Alvin Marsh, Beverly's violent and abusive father. Lily's history had already intertwined with the Marsh family's world because she spent time in Juniper Hill Asylum as a child, and Beverly's mother ultimately died in that very place. This gave the theory what I can only describe as poetic symmetry, that is, Lily's story beginning and ending at Juniper Hill. But this similarity in personality was not all that common between
that would have been fire though. Like, I can see the pieces being connected to that. That would have been fire.
Lily and Elfrida. For instance, Lily always wore a distinctive charm bracelet with a turtle charm, which was a gift from her friend Maddie, and she never took it off. In Stephen King's universe, the turtle called Maturin is a powerful symbol of protection, and it serves as the opposite of the entity that has taken the form of Pennywise the Dancing Clown. And fans took note of Lily's turtle trinket. So it's possible that if Lily were to be Beverly's mother, perhaps that bracelet, or the turtle motif, would resurface in Bev's story. But I must admit that this is, in reality, simply a hopeful extrapolation. Then there's the middle name connection between Lily and Elfrida. You see, it's also believed by a select few that Lily is actually short for Lillian, and maybe, just maybe, Beverly's mother's full name was something like Elfrida Lillian Marsh. If Lily
Are you gonna give us the answers? You asking a lot of questions, bro.
indicate that Lilly Bainbridge is not Beverly Marsh's
Yeah, we knew that. Oh my gosh.
The 1988 post-credit scene all debunked this theory. We learned that Beverly's mother is named Elfrida Marsh, with no mention of any Lillian in her name. If Lily truly were Bev's mother under an alias, the show likely would have given us clearer hints, which definitely wasn't the case. In fact, the post-credit sequence seems to go out of its way not to hint at Lily. For one, the distraught woman who dies is never shown up close, and we don't see any personal effects that might identify her. In fact, I don't even remember the dead Elfrida wearing Lily's turtle charm bracelet, which had been Lily's signature accessory. Showing that bracelet on the corpse's wrist would have been an obvious clue of Lily's identity, but it's absent. Likewise, no orderly or character calls the woman Lillian, or any name that would link back to Lily. Instead, the staff clearly say her name is Elfrida Marsh. These deliberate details strongly suggest that Elfrida Marsh is not meant to be Lily in disguise. If anything, one of the Welcome to Derry sequels, or should I say prequels, might show a connection between Lily and Elfrida. But as of Season 1 Welcome to Derry, there seems to be none. Moreover, the context of Elfrida's death aligns with what we know from the It movies. You see, Beverly's father
He about to make me mad, bro.
mentions her mother took her own life, and blames Beverly for it. The show simply confirms that backstory without adding any surprise.
Okay.
Life after 1962, Lily's path beyond Derry. But the more important question here is, if Lily didn't become Beverly's mother, then what did happen to her after the events of 1962? The honest answer is that the show leaves this open-ended. Lily's future is not explicitly shown or described, which naturally means that I will have to rely on context clues and Stephen King lore to speculate. So let's first check out what we do know.
Let's
At
get
the
to
end of Welcome to
speculate.
Derry Season 1, Lily remains in Derry, at least for the time being. The finale shows that while some of the kids plan to leave town, Lily and Marge do not. Even Will stays, although he was supposed to head out along with his family. Ronnie definitely moves out. Lily likely returned to...
I'm really more curious about what happens to Ronnie. That's honestly what I'm more curious about. But I feel like after she leaves, she just probably forgets everything, like everybody else that leaves.
her home with her mother, carrying on with life in Derry as the dust settled from Pennywise's rampage. And knowing Derry, the adults ignored whatever happened, and we do know that Derry has a habit of making the adults ignore things related to Pennywise. I mean, the story of It teaches us that just because someone stays in Derry doesn't mean they remember everything clearly. Pennywise's influence causes a strange amnesia to fall over Derry's residents once each cycle of terror ends. In It Chapter 2, Mike...
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's why I'm like, why does everybody just act so normal after? It's so weird. That's actually fire, bro. Give people amnesia?
Hanlon tells Bill, something happens to you when you leave this town. The farther away, the hazier it all gets. Memories of the events become hazy after It goes into hibernation. Even Ingrid Kirsch, who lived through the 1930s Pennywise cycle, tells Lily that her recollection of those years seems to fade over time. This aligns with King's original novel and films. The Losers Club members who leave Derry as kids completely forget their supernatural childhood trauma, and even Mike, who stays in town, finds his memories blur over the decades, so much so that he has to write everything down so that Derry's dark history is preserved and not easily forgotten. In short, by the time Pennywise is dormant, people start to move on and unconsciously suppress the horror. We can reasonably assume Lily experienced something similar. As a 13-year-old, she might have tried to resume a normal life by going to school, spending time with Marge, and the unspeakable encounters must gradually have felt like a bad dream. The further away the events got, the more unreal they may have seemed.
Yo, the Stephen King, bro. I don't even know how you come up with this stuff, bro. Like, I just don't. How does your brain come up with these things, bro? The Long Walk, The Shining, The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption. Bro, we're talking about elite movies. Even Cujo. How does your brain even come up with these type of stories? That's what I'm saying. This is my theory. Him, Stan Lee, people like this that come up with such elite stories like this, I think they steal them. I think they steal them from crackheads who want that stuff and they just yapping. They take down the premise of what they saying and then they just formulate it in a more educated, smarter way. A more detailed story. Because how else? How else would you come up with this? There's no way somebody can be this creative. I refuse to accept it. This has to be the most creepiest looking man of all time. He has some creepy books and stories. The scariest thing about him is his face. Why does he look this creepy, bro? He looks like what he writes. It is so weird. And it don't even matter how far back you go. Even younger him just looks like a creep. You scare me.
What could Lily's adulthood have looked like? Here are a couple of likely scenarios. Number 1. Lily left Derry and forgot the horror. It's possible that as Lily grew up, she eventually decided to leave her haunted hometown. Perhaps for college or simply to start fresh. Lily might have moved out of Derry in the 1970s. If so, Pennywise's supernatural hold would ensure that the farther she got, the more her memories just seemed to fade. For Lily, leaving Derry could have been a blessing. She might have gradually forgotten the terrifying details of 1962, and maybe she repressed all that trauma to lead a normal life elsewhere. This doesn't mean that it was all sunshine for her, because let's face it, forgetting something in King's universe is more like a scab forming over a deep wound. There's always going to be a scar, even if the wound heals after an eternity of pain. Number 2. Lily stayed in Derry and remembered, at least partially. The other possibility is that Lily stayed in Derry into adulthood. We know she didn't plan to leave immediately in 62, and her closest friend Marge certainly stayed. If Lily remained in Derry long term, she likely would retain more memory of the Pennywise incident than those who left. But even for town residents, those memories could be foggy. Lily might have remembered the broad strokes, that something horrific happened, and that many friends died, but the supernatural specifics might feel unreal as she grew older. By the time Pennywise awoke in 1988, Lily would have been around 39 years old, living her adult life. It's conceivable she heard news of the strange incidents starting up again, child disappearances, etc., but as a regular citizen, and especially as an adult, she may have rationalized them like other Derry adults do. There's no connection in It Chapter 1 or any Stephen King source that an adult Lilly Bainbridge was involved in the Losers Club story. If she did stay in Derry, she appears to have no active role in the 1988 events, which suggests that
If we go through this whole video, because there's only 2 minutes left. If we go through this video, you would have talked about nothing for 15 minutes. You would have literally talked about nothing for 15 minutes. You didn't speculate anything. Anybody who watched the show could have came to the conclusion, maybe she left. Maybe she stayed. Nigga, give me a theory. You give me a theory. What is this?
either she didn't fully remember the nature of it, or she was unable to help. Both scenarios arrive at a similar endpoint by 1988. Lilly is not directly connected to Beverly Marsh or the Losers Club's fight. Whether by distance or by mental haze, she doesn't re-enter the spotlight of Derry's horror. The Welcome to Derry showrunners themselves seem content with Lilly's story ending in 1962 for now. In an interview, Andy Muschietti revealed they considered an epilogue montage showing some future fates. For instance, an older Marge with Richie, but ultimately they only filmed the Beverly Juniper Hill scene as the epilogue. Lilly was not featured in those early epilogue ideas that were discussed, which only means that her later life was intentionally left to the imagination. It's possible that future seasons, because the creators have a 3-season plan covering 1962, 35, and 08.
I didn't even know originally when the show came out that it was gonna be more shows. I just thought it was kind of like a maybe one time type of thing, because once it jumps from the 60s to the 80s, you know, we kind of already have the whole timeline thing done, but the fact that it's possible that we're gonna get 2 more seasons.
Turn to Lily's era at all, since the story is moving backward in time. Unless a later installment finds a creative way to flash forward, or unless Lilly somehow ties in the older cycles, perhaps through her grandparents or something. Her personal story after season 1 may remain untold on screen. One obnoxious fan theory. Because the show didn't spell out Lily's destiny, fan theories have pretty much riddled spaces like Reddit, and some of these are more far-fetched than others. We've addressed the Beverly's mom idea, which is widely regarded as debunked. There was even a brief rumor, thanks to a prank edit on a wiki, that Lilly might be the mother of Patrick Hockstetter, a rather psychopathic bully from It's 1989 storyline. Needless to say, this rather weird and obnoxious suggestion came to life with virtually no evidence, and others in the Reddit thread dismissed it as a joke or wishful thinking. In other words, beyond the Beverly theory, there isn't a credible alternate identity known for Lilly in King's canon. Marvelous verdict. In the end, we can speculate that Lilly either found peace far from Derry's shadows, or stayed and watched over her hometown in uneasy peace. And if you ask me, both of these possibilities have a sense of bittersweet relief. We may never get a definitive "where are they now" for Lilly Bainbridge, but we can take comfort that she did survive and break the cycle of violence for herself. Unlike so many—
At least she survived. You're not wasting any more of my time. I thought you was really gonna talk about the book, really talk about maybe another possible connection. You didn't really talk about a lot. So yeah, I guess maybe she left, maybe she stayed. Hopefully she's at peace. That's the only piece I'm getting from this video. So what are they saying in the comments? Bro, I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed this. Oh my gosh. So this upload is basically you telling us that you don't know either. I almost disliked this video, bro. If it wasn't edited well, I would have disliked this video. Peed me off. Yeah, Welcome to Derry is must-watch TV, though. Definitely a watch if you haven't watched it.